Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Ubisoft because these guys just recently did something that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And honestly, whoever the person is responsible for this whole situation probably shouldn't have a job, if we're being honest. Not only did they bring like a horrible reaction, I guess, to the company's name, like people were so upset that started getting like press coverage and stuff. It was going viral over on Twitter, like people were all over them in the responses and the like reviews for the game. Basically, Ubisoft was just getting torched, man, like left, right, and center. They were just getting completely embalmed by flames. And honestly, it was completely justified the way that people reacted. It's not often that you say that, but in this situation, man, given the confusion that Ubisoft created, they kind of had it coming to them, man, because when you talk about something that people purchased and you're trying to take that away from them, or you're, making people feel like they got scammed or robbed, you're getting to that point where you're really kind of like kicking the hornet's nest, hoping that they don't swarm out and sting you. Like, as a company, the last group of people on the planet that you really want to upset, the last base of people on the planet you really want to like get under their skin, are the people who purchase your products, the people who keep your company afloat with their financial support. And that's literally what Ubisoft recently did, and it kind of blew me away that this whole situation happened the way that it did, because in reality, if Ubisoft was smart enough and they actually, like, I don't know, took the time to think this out, they really probably could have avoided this entire situation. Like, if they took the time to just like talk about it in a meeting or something and like figure it out all the way and really flesh the concept of what they were going to do out, you most likely would not have had thousands of angry people online saying they hate your company, encouraging people to pirate your products, basically just doing the worst thing that you would want your consumers to do for your business. So, I don't know if you guys know about the game Assassin's Creed Liberation. It came out all the way back in 2014 on Steam. It definitely isn't the best received Assassin's Creed game of all time. It has mixed reviews, and recently it's been mostly negative, which is probably tainted, to be honest, by what happened in this situation, because people started leaving angry reviews on the game, once again, rightfully so. But this is an 8 or so year old game now that came out all the way back in the day, and it's just been kind of hovering around on Steam doing pretty much nothing, I guess, for all these years. Its time has definitely come and went. There's been more Assassin's Creed games after it and everything, so it's not even like it's the newest one or anything anymore. But basically, Ubisoft was gonna like try to delist this game and take it away from people and just make it to where you couldn't play it on Steam. And I don't know if they just worded everything the wrong way, or if they had to fully like 360 around and then try to like, recoup everything. I don't know. It wouldn't really be a 360, it's a full circle. It'd be more or less a 180, but I don't really know what they did, but it was damage control like a sumbitch, you know what I mean? It was terrible for him, man. So this is the screenshot of the game page a few days ago, and you're going to see these notices on the bottom left, and it says, at the request of the publisher, Assassin's Creed Liberation HD is no longer available for sale on Steam. Okay, no problem, right? It then says below that, please note this title will not be accessible following September 1st, 2022. Okay, now here's where the problem comes in. This is obviously worded very vaguely, okay? Very vaguely. You really can't get the full picture of what's happening from that, because on one hand, it could just mean like, oh, you won't be able to access its store page following September 1st. You won't be able to buy it like it says above. Or on the other hand, it could mean, hey, even if you bought this game, even if you paid your hard-earned money to pick this product up, it'll no longer be accessible following this date regardless. So of course, given the situation, people start freaking the fuck out. People are leaving nasty reviews on the game page, it goes on Twitter, it goes semi-viral, it gets to a point where, of course, they're bullied into responding by the people who bought the game, because there's so much backlash to the situation. So this wasn't even the only game that they tried doing this with. There was like 14 or so other games that they tried to pull this off with. And it obviously sent people into a frenzy because, well, they paid for this game, they spent their money on it and whatnot, and maybe even liked it and play it still, right? And yet you have the developers and publishers of the game basically telling you that, hey, on this date, we're taking the game back from you. We're taking this shit it back, you know what I mean? And to me, this highlights a pretty massive problem in the gaming industry that's actually ongoing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and front like I don't purchase video games digitally ever. I mean, the majority of the ways that I purchase games are digital. I play on PC. I don't have a disc drive anymore. Physical media is kind of being phased out across the board, right? I mean, even when you think of like movies, right? Like you just buy those on Prime Video these days. You don't go down to Blockbuster and rent them or go to Walmart and pick it up the day that it drops. Well, most people don't, at least, but physical media is just kind of dying out across the board, and it's really kind of accelerated in video games. I mean, you look at the new like PlayStation 5s and stuff like that, they have digital only versions of them that don't even have disc drives in them, you know what I mean? And that's because the gaming industry and the media industry in general has been transitioning towards digital products, which I actually don't have a huge problem with digital products, not all the time at least. I mean, they're very convenient, right? Like you don't have to go to GameStop to buy a video game. I don't have to get harassed for 7 minutes about getting a power-up pro card or whatever down at GameStop. I'm okay with that, you know? But the problem with buying these games digitally is you don't really own anything. I mean, you're paying $60 or whatever, right? You're paying the full price of the game, whatever it may be, but you don't actually own the product. You know what I mean? At least in like 95% of scenarios. Because what ends up actually happening is you're not buying the game outright. You're not buying the product. You're buying a license for the product. So when you buy these games digitally, basically what happens, you're buying a piece of code that tells you you're allowed to play and run the game when they say. So whenever the day comes that the developers basically want to shut off access to the game, they don't care about it anymore, whatever it may be, they feel like it's aged or whatever, it's not making them enough money, they can simply just shut off access to the game like they were gonna do probably with these games, and just make it to where you can't play them. So even if you paid for it, paid full price, doesn't matter, right? Like you still paid for it at the end of the day, right? But if you pay for these games, they can literally take your access. They can revoke your access to playing these games based on whatever they have going on. You know, whatever their decision is at the headquarters, that's the decision you also have to live with. Now, obviously, back in 2001, when you were buying Grand Theft Auto 3 for the PlayStation 2, you were buying the game outright, man. Like, you were buying a disc that had that game, right? And the developers at that point, you know, the technology wasn't really fleshed out enough on these devices for them to revoke access to the code or anything like that. So, over time, the gaming industry has been going in this direction of digital only, where you're basically just buying a license to play. And obviously, following all of the backlash, following all of the shit that they got for this, they had to start backpedaling because, I mean, just a few days ago, the Steam summer sale went down, right? And you know how that goes, of course. People were buying this game for 75% off and then being told a couple weeks later that they were losing access to the game in a matter of weeks. And well, this is how it went. Ubisoft delisted this game, adding that it will be inaccessible following September 1st, 2022. So basically, I bought a digital paperweight. Thanks, Ubi. I'll end this brief review with a quote that should be fully understood before purchasing any Ubisoft titles. Quote, "We think there's a fundamental misconception about piracy. Piracy is almost always a service problem and not a pricing problem," he said. "If a pirate offers a product anywhere in the world 24/7, purchasable from the convenience of your personal computer, and the legal provider says the product is region locked, will come to your country after 3 months from the US release and can only be purchased at a brick and mortar store, then the pirate's service is more valuable." And that's coming from Gabe Newell, the guy who's the head of Steam and everything, right? So I actually think that this is a wonderful quote because it's entirely true. As somebody who has admittedly pirated video games before, I have never once pirated a video game because I was like, man, I'm just not paying for this. I don't want to pay for this product. I just want to play it. It's always come down to the fact that the developers have complete shit ideas when it comes to actually managing their games post-release, and they completely ruin the idea of playing a game past like 6 months of it coming out for some reason. Like it's not an art form or something that you can actually enjoy for decades if you try. And I think that this review speaks wonders because this is basically the general sentiment that Ubisoft created in this situation. They got everybody mad, they got everyone worked up after selling them a product at a discounted price to encourage them to buy it, might I add. Then when everybody gets mad, they backpedal and they have to, of course, change everything up real quick to make it look like, you know, make it look better, basically. So this is how it ended up. DLC for this product and online elements and features will become unavailable as of September 1st, 2022. The base game will continue to be playable. So people didn't necessarily get ripped off unless they bought the DLC too. That would kind of piss me off if I bought DLC and then 3 weeks later you tell me that it's no longer playable. But obviously this is a complete change of tone and a complete different reaction than what we got the first time, right? So thankfully Luckily, this situation ended up getting fixed, basically because people complained enough. I feel like if people didn't complain or like raise hell about this, that we would be in the same boat even to this day, or at least until the game ended up actually becoming unavailable in a few weeks. I gotta imagine that the person who was behind this probably doesn't have a job anymore. At least they wouldn't have a job anymore if they were working at Optimus Studios, man. You screwed up bad. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @subtooptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Ubisoft screwing up, go figure, and signing out.